we are going to focus on graphing calculator basics, marking period 1, week 6. All right. So in our installment today, we're going to look at these 8 basic techniques. Next, first technique is to list table of values for a function. Technique 2 is going to be, I want to use this, Matt, yeah. Technique 2, to start the table at a particular number. Next, to find the intersection graphically. To find the maximum graphically. To find the minimum graphically. To convert a decimal to a fraction. To convert a fraction to a decimal. And finally, to reset the window back to the original. Okay, so let's take a look at these techniques. Okay, so what am I trying to do? To list the table of values for a function. So I have this function, okay? And I want to find the table of values. Well, what do? Well, I'm going to get my graphing calculator, go to the Y editor, clear out the stuff that I don't need, and put in the function that I actually want. So negative y1, negative 1 over 2 x, I would find by hitting alpha y1, that's my fraction cheat code, negative 1 over 2, and then x. Now, in order to get the table values, I'm just going to hit second graph. Let's do that. Second graph. All right. And easy peasy, I have an idea of what my chart looks like. Okay. And I can drag that over. Drag that over. Now, my next technique is this. To start the table at a particular number, press second and then the window and then put that number into the start table. So I'm at 80 right here. All right. What if I wanted to know what 20 would be? Well, I could probably just scroll down to 20, but there's an easier way. So what we're going to do is hit second, go to our window, second window, okay, and at the table start, I want to put 20. I hit enter, and then I hit second graph again. Voila. So now I know where my value was at 80. Now I see where my value is at 20. Okay? Very simple technique. Let's move on to the next cheat code. In this cheat code, to find the intersection graphically, what do? Well, we studied this technique before. All right? What do we do with this technique? Well, we put in our functions that we're interested in. This is 2x minus 3. And we want to have negative x squared. Okay, and what do? I remember to hit second trace 5. Let's do that. Second trace and 5. Very nice. Okay, now here's what I got to consider. I got to consider the intersection when x is negative and the intersection when y is positive. In order to make that happen, I got to make sure my negative x's, when I hit enter 3 times, that x value is on the negative side. So I'm just going to move this over here. X is negative. I hit enter once. I see x is negative. I hit enter twice. Hit enter 3 times. Boom. So I see that when x is negative 3, that y is -9. Okay, easy peasy. Okay, well, what about second trace 5? What about when x is positive? So I got to move my cursor to when x is on the positive side. Hit enter once. All right, x is on the positive side again. Hit enter twice. Hit enter 3 times. Okay, move that over here. Okay, so when x is +1, I see that y is -1. Okay, all right, so much for the first technique. Let's look at the second technique. To find the maximum graphically, I got to hit second trace and then 4. Second trace 4. So let's see here. What if I had something a little bit more creative? What if I had, say, well, let's clear this out. Say I had -x², and say I was starting 5 places. Okay, what would that look like? Let's hit graph. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to hit second trace 4. Second trace 4. I got to hit enter 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And here's what I see. I see that my maximum value of y is going to be 5. Okay, very useful technique. Very useful technique. All right, let's go on to the remaining 4 techniques. All right, these cheat codes are very helpful. Now, to find the minimum graphically, okay, we just found the maximum. Now let's find the minimum. So I take this equation, x², and, let's get creative. Let's make it +5. All right, let's make it +5. All right, x² +5. Here we go. And I gotta turn this one off because I don't need to see both. I turn it off by just highlighting it and hitting enter. Okay, so only the one that is darkened is gonna show up when I try to graph this. So let's move that over there, and let's hit graph. All right. So I want to find the minimum. So I'm going to hit second trace 3 now. So second trace 3. I'm going to hit enter 3 times. 1, 2, 3. There we are. So what do I know? I know that my minimum value for y, is going to be 5. Okay? Very nice cheat code. Very easy. Now, I want to convert a decimal to a fraction. Very often we will get an answer, and the Regents exam will want us to do a conversion to test us and see if we know our calculator. So let's put in 2.11, and we're going to hit the math key, and then we're going to have option 1. Enter. So what we have is this conversion. In order to take 2.11 and put it in a fraction, we see that it's 211 over 100. Hey, the Regents exam has done weirder things. All right. All right, let's take another look at our next cheat code. To convert, let's go the opposite way. Let's convert a fraction to a decimal now. All right, so we take the fraction, alpha y1. We take the fraction 1 over 6. And we want to convert that to a decimal. We hit math, option 2. Hit enter. So what I see is to go from 1 over 6 and turn that into a decimal, I'm going to get something that's a little bit of a repeat. 0.1666666, and then a 7. All right, will this kind of question comes up? Absolutely, it will. And then finally, our last cheat code is to reset a window back to the original. We have to hit zoom 6 or zoom standard. So let's take a look at that. So what do we have here? All right. Now say I wanted to zoom out. Zoom out. We've done this before. Zoom out. I can see more of it. But it's saying I want to reset it to its original. Now Z standard is the way I do it. So I hit zoom and I'm looking for standard. There's your 6 right here. Hit 6. All right, and that takes us back to the original. Okay, guys. So in this short video, what we did is we reviewed these very simple techniques to list a table of values for a function, to start the table at a particular number, to find the intersection graphically, to find the maximum graphically, the minimum graphically, and to convert a decimal to a fraction to a decimal, and how to reset the window. All right. Key to know and to remember that these questions and questions like this will more than likely be on our next weekly quiz. All right. So please pause the video. Rewind if you need to see it a second time, and if you need to take notes, maybe with flashcards, or maybe you just need to quiz one another with a friend. But whatever you do, remember, 30 minutes of study a day keeps bad grades away. All right. Do well on our next weekly, guys.